before we get going here with the amazing Ira Pope Sage, and thank Pivot Point for generously donating the mannequins for this event that we've been able to put on the last 2 days. We're wrapping it up with Ira and then one more class after this, guys, and that's it. So thank you to Pivot Point for the mannequins. I love Pivot Point mannequins, the quality, and not just for the quality, but also the ethical manufacturing standards, and where Pivot Point leads the way. So thank you, Pivot Point. If you haven't attended one of our classes yet, we will be giving away a toolkit that has a set of shark fin shears, a set of Andis clippers, a full set of Ergo round brushes, and a mannequin from Pivot Point. So make sure you stick around for that. And without further ado, I'm happy that he's rocking the Bad Boy Pistons Rodman jersey. Thank you for coming back with us, Ira, and it's all yours, man. Take it away.
My pleasure, buddy. Thank you, Willie. Thank you, Sharkfin. And thank you all for being here. We very much appreciate it. Today, what I'm going to work with, still within my perspective, is key concept of as far as in my classes that I teach within my loft here, my one-on-ones, my group classes. This is today's focus is a little bit more on disconnection. And with disconnection, I find that disconnection can be almost like surrealism as far as the surreal art. To where I really like, one of the things I love most about, say, surreal art is that you look at it one way and you see one thing, and you change your perspective and you look at it and see a whole other thing about it. And I really like that, along with disconnection, how that works. Say, like, these are two concepts that are similar in the area that we work with. Obviously, two different lengths. Pull her over this way so she's all white behind her. Obviously, two different lengths overall, but both the same kind of idea, both air dried also as well. So both in their natural textures, and both you can kind of get a glimpse of the disconnection, in the sense that here's hair right here, that's this length. You can see right there, it comes out to there, and then right below it, it's way out here, yeah? But yet when you see on a profile, when you see this through, it still has a good blend through, and again, length right here to length way out here, yeah? So to me, I really like how disconnection creates a whole different option, a whole different dimension, really. It creates different ways of seeing things, really. And it gives just different options to make things to where when you do just air dry, you can really air dry really nice. And if you do expand, you can expand out and be really quite crazy and playful if you want. And definitely, to me, can create a mood. Obviously, it creates a functionality number one, truly. And in this situation, to me, the function is something like, in either of these two looks, would be something of someone that likes more lived-in looks. Doesn't need, I mean, they can make this smooth and clean for sure, but to me, it's a little bit more of a vibey, moody kind of a rock star-y, someone that gives no S as much, basically. So it just has more of a vibey mood to itself. Like, you look at this and it's super, like, almost like 70s, almost what am I thinking of? The one there from Queen, basically. But so moody and really cool. So I'll show you now. Get that out of the way. All these girls, that is. I'll come in here, and this is basically the draw out. Let me just go out just like this. So what I did with this doll head is sectioned her off first. And the way I sectioned her off is like this. And what I might even ask is, because this could be something of photo for you. I'm not sure if you like photos or anything like that, but this could be one good one for you, perhaps, to photo up and maybe take a screenshot and post it later on Instagram, tagging Sharkfin, tagging myself, Ira Sage, or Ira Pope Sage. Please and thank you. Anyway, so, and the way I did this is I first combed everything basically down to natural fall, and then just split in the back, find the corner. Find where the corner of the head's at. And that's the beauty that I find with disconnection, is that if you separate at the proper spots, it can then be very fluid. If you separate the wrong spot, it will be anything but fluid. It could be very lumpy. It could be very heavy. it could be very unattractive, really, if you don't separate at the right spot. So that placement is everything. So I separated off the corners. It was all off the corners, and I'm working everything inside of the box. So yesterday's class, I talked about my clock concept. As per looking at the head as a clock, looking at the nose is 12 o'clock, the right ear is 3 o'clock, back vertebrae is 6, and 9 o'clock on the left ear. And the secondary hour, those were the primaries, and secondaries were 1:30, 4:30, 7:30, and 10:30, where those primary hours would be in the corners, yeah? So what I did with this, utilizing that clock concept, is I found where the corners were at, and right off those secondary hours, I drew a line, right from 1:30, right on back down to 4:30. And then I drew a line from 10:30 right on back down to 7:30, yeah? And then I clipped up the bottom first, and then I go through and separate. Basically, I found where the apex was at in the top area of the head here, where the high point was at, and I drew a line across down, which is basically right around that 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock line, yeah? And then I found where the widest point in the back was at, just a little bit above the elbow bone. On this situation, I put just a little above the elbow bone on it and drew a horizontal line there. So now she's all set and ready to go to be able to get in there and get cutting. And this situation, again, is kind of a reverse disconnection. I think so many people think about disconnections being like undercut, like short bottom, long top. And yes, you can do that. That's also got the same kind of principles, but that basically kind of makes things smaller and, again, more looseness up in the top. Where this situation is going to make it leaner and smaller, but have more play on the bottom, because obviously the length's at the bottom. So to me, I really like that extended kind of look, and a lot with my clients, they're generally looking for the longer hair. They're not so much concerned about the inside as much. So it's kind of nice in this manner. If you want someone that, or if you've got someone that wants a little bit of a stronger look, make their hair look longer and a little bit stronger of a mood or a vibe. So I'm going to take this first zone out here. Take this one out. I'm going to re-moisturize everything and make sure it's nice and consistent. I personally highly recommend good consistent moisture throughout for equality and just consistency. And then also making sure that it's not just at the roots, that it's throughout the hair, mid-shafts to ends, so that way there's good equality in there as much as possible. Excuse me, 1 second. I'm going to turn this, I guess. So I'll come right over here at the front of her body at 12 o'clock. And just like yesterday, still working. For the most part, I almost always recommend sections be no larger than a finger. So still working finger with sections. Standing here right at 12 o'clock. Draw in my first line. Let me draw that one more time. There we go. Draw the first line in. Okay, so then I take the 9 o'clock side. Get that 9 o'clock side. And just twist that and flip back on over the bottom stuff. So she's out of the way. Come on here. This. 3 o'clock side. And I recommend as much as possible, try to keep things in a clean manner, so that way you can really see everything. I believe that the skin ought to let you know where to start and stop at all times. Yeah. So obviously we start in this situation. I started the section in all of this skin land. So I start there. I drew it back, and I can see these still skin lines. So that way I know how to stay inside my shape. And what I'm going to be working with today, as far as in dimensions of sorts, and is that I'm going to be working with more of a convexy kind of shape from 12 to 6, meaning convexy, meaning it's going to be kind of softly convex, yeah? And it's going to, then in that manner, it's going to go like this, slightly arch and follow the head shape. Convex follows the head shape. It contours and shadows the head shape, yeah? So I'm going to work in this kind of a rounded line from front to back, from 12 to 6, or 6 to 12. And then I'm going to take section 1 and comb it over to section 2. So I'll cut section 2 basically on its base. Yeah? And then I'll cut section 2, and then and when I go to draw in section 3, I'll bring section 2 to section 3. So I'll be combing always to the outside. yeah? And then it would be the exact same opposite on the 3 o'clock side. And with the combing to the opposite side, what that will do is it will make it go also convexy from 3 to 9, yeah? If I were to comb into the previous, like we often do, it'd be a little bit more of a flatty look, yeah? I'm wanting it to hug, yeah? So I want to hug front to back. I want it to hug side to side. I'm a hugger. I don't get to hug my clients now with these new days, but still, I'm still naturally a hugger, and I want it to hug. So get a little bit moisture. So I'm gonna show it in this side manner first, so you can see the cutting line happen. And then once we get this cutting line established, then I'll show you more on this other side, so you can see the over direction happen. Yeah. Okay. So one, we have to decide where's the length going to be. What kind of length do we want on this? And I want to open her up, this front area a bit, and I generally like to start right around this mid area, right around the eyebrow area, right around that kind of dent, the closest in spot of the nose to there, the bridge of the nose. And I take that, and I'll take this back, and I'll look at it on the comb, yeah? And I look to see how much. First off, I make sure, like right there, these doll heads are so nice, honestly. Thank you, Pivot Point. You see there's not a major rise, you know, which is so much more human. So I like that a lot about Pivot Point. But if you've got anyone that's got cowlicks or major like rise or lift in that hairline, do not pull it down. See if there's like a lift like this in the hairline, keep that lift there and check it with the lift. Don't pull it down and stretch it, because then it's not going to be true, especially when it's just air dried, yeah? It's going to go a lot shorter. So take a look to see what type of length is there. So generally it's right around about half mark of the comb. So then this knot here is the same amount that's going to be left up here, because again, it's convex. So it's the same length here as it will be here. So it's not how much is cut off, it's how much is left on, yeah? So that's one thing. If you were here yesterday we focused on how much we cut off, not how much we left on. Today we're looking at how much we leave on, not how much we cut off. So we're putting our thing down, flipping and reversing it. Okay, so anyway, coming on over here, like this again. And combing this straight up, just like another one, just like yesterday. We're gonna go straight boxy, in the sense that I'm gonna make sure that this first section, and in this situation, just to give you guys a heads up too, I am standing at 9 o'clock, so it's left ear. So I'm standing at 9 o'clock. As a right-hander, I personally recommend standing at this 9 o'clock side. Reason being, I find that if I start with this convex shape in the front while standing at 3 o'clock, I sometimes elevate it a little bit too much in the front, and then it flips up, and I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah. So I find that if I start in this back area standing at 9 o'clock, I kind of like that better, and then I have a good strong division point from here then too. So I can make sure, just like yesterday, I want to make sure it's kind of boxy. I don't want this hair while standing at 9 o'clock. I can see if the hair is leaning towards 12 o'clock or if it's leaning towards 6 o'clock. I want to make sure it's just straight up like Paula Abdul, yeah? So I make sure that that's straight up. If I were in a position where I have a mirror there, I would then take a look at the mirror. And actually, I would recommend, honestly, have the mirror behind me, to be honest with you. In this particular situation, you ought to always have your fingers point towards the mirror if you're checking, because then you can check this way. If I'm this way, you see I cover that whole section with my arm. I can't see anything. Yeah, and perspective is key, as I mentioned. So if you were to have a mirror, you'd have a mirror behind you this direction. Yeah, so that we can actually see that hair and make sure it's straight up. I hope you guys appreciate that. Okay, so straight up here. And again, lengthwise, we are looking at about half of the comb. So I know that I can take right here, comb this up. Make sure again that this is not leaning to 6, not leaning to 12. I'm straight up, cut through, and I cut again just to the second knuckle. And then I go ahead and drop some of that section. Let that be. I come in, I grab the next bit. And again, we're working concavely, so we're not gonna go flat and bring it straight up and make it to where it becomes, working convexity, not concavely. If I were to go flat, it would become concavely because it would oppose the head shape, yeah? Instead, we're gonna couture and follow the head shape, so we're working convexity. So in that manner, This front ear, we want to be really mindful, almost convex shapes, to me, almost has the same kind of mindset as like graduation. Graduation, you want to give much respect, much detail to every little thing, and to really read your roots and make sure everything's really spot on to have your strongest form of graduation. Same kind of situation with convex. Again, it's following the head shape, so you want to make sure that you truly read those roots in there as much as possible as you're working through, so that way you've got a true, honest, contoured head shape and it living in that convex manner. Okay, so I've got that first one down, and now what I can do is take a look at it. So I'm gonna go through and take a look to see. I comb down through, and when I comb down through, like I see, oops, sorry about that, guys. You see how there's no like hairs flipping out or anything like that? When I comb this through, it pretty much just slides through nice and easy there. Then I can feel pretty safe that that is pretty consistent. Yeah. If there were any kind of hairs that were kind of like flipping up a little bit, then I know I was slightly more towards a concave side, because concave flips up. Like we've all been taught, concave is this way, and they always tell you cave in, but in is only on the center, guys. The ends will tend to flip out on concave. So if you have any flipping out, then you know you worked convex. Yeah. So I'm gonna take just a little bit. Put it there. Take down I'm gonna work towards my 9 o'clock side here first. So I've got 1 finger's width here. And now I'll get 1 more finger's width in this here next to it. So we're gonna just play basically finger width by finger width. Take that. Over. Moisture. Again, moisture, consistency. Now again, I'm going to comb to the outside. Comb to the outside. Make sure the hair's again straight up, and not, if I stand at 9 o'clock, I can have an indicator knowledge of not leaning to 6 and not leaning to 12. I can take a look in the mirror and see that it's for sure coming over. You can see that angle there. There's that movement of it for sure coming over. Yeah. See that? Take the next one. Go right on up. Again, make sure that I'm reading those roots. That is in a nice following of a head. That everything's in a good, solid convexy manner. And that I'm staying within 100 of working between my sweet zone of my fingers there. I'm not going past that second knuckle as to lose tension. Go right there. Cool. So now I can take and comb the 2. Take a look and see that they're both doing similar things. So I'm good. I can go ahead and move on to the next one. But first, before I move on to the next one, what I will do is get rid of the first one. Now I'll take section 1 and comb it over to the 3 o'clock side and let that be over there for right now. Now I have section 2. I'll take section 3. And again, I'm combing to the outside. And what you might notice there too, I take little small bits. So I'm looking at this as kind of being like 3 sections. 1 section, 2 section, 3rd section. Yeah. If I were going more to a concave feel, I might just do it all to 1, because then it could be so much quicker then. But in this manner, again, working more convex, you've got to be a little bit more respectful, and it's a little bit more like driving the side roads. There's stop signs, there's stoplights. So you got to be a little bit more aware of things as you're driving. You can't just go into cruise control like you could with a concave shape. Okay, so combing to the outside. Combing that hair up, making sure again I'm not leaning to 12 or 6. Checking here to make sure I'm definitely over directed over. You can see again with that there. Okay, and then cut through. Okay, come over. And these lines are really nice again to let me know where to start and stop. I stay inside these lines. And the combing, the direction of the combing is quite important and really helps to assist in the convex shape here due to the fact that I'm making sure how I comb the hair and comb it to the outside. It's so important. If I start to comb to the inside, what I'm going to do in that situation, think about if you guys were to be on here earlier today and got to see my buddy DJ. DJ talks about pull away from what you want to keep. Yeah. So if I were to comb it to the inside, I would be keeping the outside. Yeah. So keep that in mind. So right away, you can create a nice convex shape just from side to side by the direction that you comb. So again, taking section 2, now combing it over to the 3 o'clock side. Here's my next one, and take this. And if it's like this, see like this right here, to me, this last section right there almost looks like I could squeeze it into one, but it's a little bit bigger than a finger size and a little bit bigger than the rest of the sections. Rather than to take it in a larger, again, this is convex. Just like graduation, you must respect it. Yeah, so I would take it in 2 smaller sections as opposed to take it in 1 larger section. Yeah, control.
Ira, if you're cross-checking and you notice your section is a bit more concaved than convexed, what would you do?
What do I do then, you said?
How would you correct that?
Then that, for me, if I saw that, the beauty of it, you said if it was more concave, right? Yes, I'm pretty sure you did. So the beauty of it is basically, you can kind of think of like if this comb were length of hair, this and this is the head right here, and the length of hair, this long would be more your concave. This like the length would be your concavy. This length would be your convexy, and then this length would be your convex. So convex is technically the shortest. Concave purely is the longest. So the beauty is if you find that it's more towards the concave side, you can simply, if you, as you mentioned, cross-check. So if I cross-checked and saw that it was a little bit more flat, then one could either choose to just take and just do 1 more section vertical, or the front to back section like I have, or I can just round it with my finger.
Perfect.
Do you know what I mean? And cut through and just round that through with my finger in that manner too. So it really all depends on your comfort zone. But at least if it's more to the concave side, again, concave is longer, so it's at least the better of the 2. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit more moisture because you got a little bit dry over here. Consistency is important. Okay, let's take the next one. And again, just combing to the outside, finding that guide, and then going through and making sure that I'm not leaning to 12 or 6. And then I can cut through. Make sure you're reading those roots to where you're not getting too concavey, moving from 6 to 12 here, which can become very easy because if you start getting lazy, you'll start to not follow through with it basically, because it's like from coming from this top crown moving to the front, you have to consistently follow through to become convex, where with concave, you don't really need to follow through as much. Again, you can just be kind of flat and simple and kind of play off the room a little bit more. But with this, you really want to be aware and read your roots. That's what I personally recommend. Again, don't take it all, just take it in half. Through. Guide, make sure I'm not leaning 12 or 6. And this, to me, way out here, that's a little bit not as in my comfort zone normally. Yeah. So be mindful, and that's why you come to the outside. You can see in that mirror that you're certainly not way up here. If I was way up here, that's again going to build length to the outside this way. It's not building, it's convexy. So it's following the head shape and curving around, basically. Okay. Through. So take a look at this here. See if it's fallen. And you ought to see pretty much like this because of the head shape that's there. You ought to see just like this, just a pretty smooth, consistent. Again, if you see any hairs through here that are acting rude or are being a little bit, that need extra like attention because they're acting emotional or anything like that, again, that's probably because you weren't consistent. Just like with children, if you're consistent, they won't be as moody generally. And hair's the same kind of way. Hair's just like a computer. A computer does what you command of it because it has no emotions. Hair's the same situation. Hair does what we command of it because it's without emotion. It creates emotion, but it does what we command of it because it has no emotion. So in the same situation, you want to make sure that you're typing in basically the right information, that you're going through and typing in convexy.com. Yeah. So keeping it quite respectful in that manner. We're trying to. Spraying over this 3 o'clock side. Getting this out of the way here. I'll come over this way for you guys for a minute so I'm not in your way. Combing this forward. Working over this 3 o'clock side. Now I take another fingers width section just next to. Yep, and I can see real quick on that, but that's a good little finger width section. Here. And I will stay on the 9 o'clock side to cut this 3 o'clock side. So I don't necessarily subscribe to switching sides. If I'm doing this whole front area from the back to the front, I like a consistent movement. I don't want it to have like this kind of a feel, unless I'm going for a different direction on each side. Yeah, I want this to all be in a similar situation. So I will stay at the 9 o'clock side, just being very mindful of my combing, being and having a good respect for the mirror and a good relationship with the mirror. Things come over. And you can see right away too, when you just look at that, like to me, someone had all that lengthy, cut that off, they're not gonna be mad about that. Right away, they're feeling decently comfortable. That's just sitting in nicely. So to bring someone to such a big change like that, I think you have to have empathy for that person, really, because that can be a really freaky moment for them. So to have to wear something that's that falls into a really kind of a pretty wearable thing right away, that can make them feel a lot better, I imagine. So combing this over to the outside again, and that's why I focus on the outside, guys. So technically, some people would say on the 9 o'clock side that you're going to comb to me, yeah? And then on the 3 o'clock side, you're going to comb away from me. But now I got to think of two things, yeah? The less I have to think of, the easier life can be. So that's why I only think comb to the outside, comb to the outside, yeah? Perspective, okay. So combing to the outside, make sure it's straight up. Now I am going to turn it this way because I can't see that at all, yeah? So I will turn the head back so I can properly see this. I want to be respectful to her. Coming to the outside. I can see that I'm not leaning to 12 or 6, and I can see that right there. There's that over direction or that elevation, call it what you want, to shift to the outside. I'm not going to do the debate.
About halfway there, Ira.
Perfect, buddy. Beauty of that is says I'm not even halfway done with the haircut, but this back side works more concavey. So it's perfect on a whenever you're playing kind of concavey worlds, that's when you can start to kind of get in more of a natural flow of things and pick up the pace a little bit, which is nice. Okay, now what I'm going to do for this next one, I'm going to turn her around, even though I'm cutting that direction. I think you guys can't see the whole front here that I just cut. Something like this. Okay, take section 1, again, comb it out of the way. Now I just have section 2 and section 3. Comb to the outside. Sorry, let me get that out of the way. That was sloppy. Don't recommend being sloppy, guys. Okay. There we go. That's clean. taking section, combing to the outside, standing at 9 o'clock. Make sure that that is straight up, not leaning, as in straight up, not leaning into 12 or 6. Get rid of that piece. Just a little bit the next one. Again, reading those roots to make sure that I'm not getting kind of lazy-ish and going towards a concave flat line or anything like that, building length to the front, looking to have this hug in everywhere. Taking that. And this one, interesting enough, isn't so large, so I will just have it being 1. Okay, so now we're down to the last section here, in this front area at least. Taking this and combing right on that. Let me see. So you guys can see. Oh, no, you're not gonna see it that way, are you? You can see it better this way. So you can see again on this. This is could be a little bit of a strange feel for some. You have a little bit more guideline. Why don't I see much of a guide? Never cut anything unless you see your guide. And that said, that looks a little bit large, so I am gonna skinny it up one little bit. So I get it on the other side. One thing I will say, see how I just tilt that comb like that? That tilt of the comb lets to hold that hair in there. You're getting over those corners there, and gravity wants to make that hair fall down, yeah? So tilting that comb is really nice to help to hold that hair. Just giving you a little tip with that. I find that to be very helpful. Okay, take that final one. Yeah, so if you've got someone that wants to go into like more of a kind of a stronger shag, a little bit more moody, or someone that wants to go into a little bit kind of like a softer kind of mullet kind of feel, like this kind of lives in all those kind of categories, really. I don't really tend to name up things a lot because I'm not concerned about the names. I'm more concerned about what hair does more than what it's called. But this would be in those kind of areas. So take a look here and see how this works through. And you'll see with it too, because the natural situation is generally it's going to be high, lower hairlines are going to be higher in the corners and lower at 12. Yeah. So the cool thing with that is that it will always be longest at 12, higher in the corners. The beauty with that means you can swing out very nicely and have that kind of more curtainy kind of feel, and having them be very trendy with their bangs and have it work out. And or they can part to either side very easily as well. Yeah, I'm gonna just play kind of trendy and that kind of feel by keeping it more curtainy like that. So that's that. Now I'm gonna move to this back section. Section number 2 or zone number 2. Before I do that, I got a lot of hair there, so let me remove that. I don't wanna fall, that's embarrassing. So let's go into that zone, zone number 2. And with this, what I'm going to do is take that clip out. Take that clip out. I'm going to moisturize everything. It's right up in there quite a bit. Now on this side, first before I get into this side, let me comb this through, get this established. So that's good there. I'm going to come and go like this. And then go just like this. Comb some of that 12 o'clock zone back to this back zone, zone number 2. Okay. So that way what that does is give me a guide to work from as well. So standing back here at 6 o'clock, I draw in another straight up and down section. again, take this and just twist it up out of the way and move it to the front over the previously, over that little bun that's there. That way you can utilize it, just twist it over. So now we have this section in the back that's just going straight up and down there, yeah? And what this is gonna do, you could stand at 9 o'clock side and work this way. Body-wise, it's easier to work this way, to be honest with you, body-wise, yeah? To work, stand at 9 o'clock and start from the bottom and work to the top. But your guide is here. So it's hard to work from this long and make it to that guide right, yeah? So instead, I recommend standing over at 3 o'clock and work from 3 down, yeah? And also, we're gonna be working into more of a convex into concavey shape, so it's easier on this side as well. So what I mean by that is that I'm gonna go like this, take the first section, I'm gonna comb it up, and I'm gonna go again right flat, so it's really nice. I got a consistent spot. I wanna make sure I'm not leaning to 12, not leaning to 6, and I can see then right away, there's my guide right there. So I comb that straight up, cut right to my second knuckle, and I stop, that out of the way. And then so I follow the head shape there, follow the head shape a little bit more right here, and then I start right around here. Is where I start to become more to a concavey. You can see this is not following down so much. Still got a little bit of an elevation on it. Therefore, it's opposing the head shape there and getting longer as it falls down into here. So that way it can fall into that and not so much flip out, because again, it's more concavey. So it'll be a little bit, pretty much slide into that there. Again, if you're the right areas of the head shapes, they'll pretty much support you and help you quite a bit, truly. So I'm gonna take this next one here. It's down. Next section. Now the next section, and section 2 is gonna go to section 1. So you can see that best this way. So I'm gonna be combing this back area. Being section 2 is gonna go to section 1, that changes my combing direction. So what I mean by that is that in this back area then, I'm gonna comb everything to the inside. The whole front was combed to the outside. This whole back area is gonna be combed to the inside, which is gonna make it more concavey then, filling length to the corners, yeah? So take this, again, have it straight up, all Abdul style. There's my guide, that cut through. I don't think you can see there, so let me go like this so you can see it still. Let me go like this so you can see it, I hope. Yeah, sorry guys, trying to do the best for you. Okay.
Doing great, man. Looks great.
It's a bit much. Perfect, buddy. Thank you. There we go. Right there. So right there. Right to that second knuckle. Stop and just right there. Cool. Take that, comb that down. And again, just like with the front, we're still combing down and checking. And you're checking as you're going to make sure everything's smooth, because if something looks like it's disturbed or bothered or going to create a tantrum, deal with it right away. I personally recommend, just like in your, probably like you may have learned throughout this quarantine, if you and your significant other have been in an argument, deal with it right away. Don't let it fester and get hotter and get bigger than it is actually. So same kind of situation with this, and for efficiency with cutting hair, if you've got a struggle or if you've got something that you didn't properly type in for the right website, you typed in something wrong or over-directed wrong or elevated it wrong, anything like that, deal with it right away. So that way you don't have to do section by section by section to fix it, yeah? So this is an interesting thing here. Remember the front, we did this as the guide, and we've used this as the guide the whole time, and the front we combed to the outside, making it convexy from side to side. This back, we're making it concavey, combed to the inside, and now you can see there's a bit of a shelf of a short length and then a longer length, almost disconnected there a little bit, yeah? It becomes disconnected because of our combing direction. So you want to make sure you go to that longer length, not to the shorter one now. And what that does, the reason I do that is so I get to play when I style the hair, I can show some of those little longer pieces will pop out in the back here. so that way you can see it in a photo. Next one. This last section, again, combing this up to previous straight up, and now you can see even more. See this here? There's the length. Here's the length here of what was the guide. Length of what was the guide, and now way out here, what is now the new guide. Okay. Take section, come down and get established, that center section established again. So section 12-6, basically, that 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock line, get that in there. Draw your first finger width section on that 9 o'clock side. Get a little bit of moisture for some balance and consistency. Again, I'm combing to the inside. On this side here, again, combing to the inside, so I only have to think of one thing. I'm in the back, I come to the inside, and I make sure I start straight again. Straight up to the ceiling, so I have a consistent start point. Come straight up. Again, I'm convexy there, and then start to move into more concavity as I start to work down towards the head here. In, keeping the elevation up, make sure it stays into more of a concavity place there. Take the first section, comb it out of the way. Take the next section, comb it into the way. Bringing that over to the center again, combing into the center. There's that disconnection starting to happen there again too. And I will say, I really do like this particular technique for either two lengths, really, like I showed you earlier, where it's great for more of a disconnected bob, and or more like this to where it's more of a shag or mullet kind of length and vibe. You could do this honestly. If you look into my Instagram, there's one that I did on a girl where it's got to this. She was a model for me last summer, Kathy, and there's a thing in my Instagram that's got a collage of 4 photos of her. I did the same sectioning pattern on her too. And it's more of almost like a pixie length. You know what I mean? It's much shorter length overall, at least. So it can really play around in multiple lengths truly and be really quite nice. So I can take a look here and just see, like when I pull this out here to where I can see that that's pretty consistent through here. That means I was pretty sound throughout. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep that. The beauty of this now. This is to me the most fun part. I can take that clip up there and let this come on down. I'm gonna re-wet everything. Take a clip out here. Let that come down. Take this clip out here. Comb through everything once. Kiss me once. Okay, comb through everything once here. Get some water, some moisture on there for some consistency in here. I mean, you guys can see, can't see quite from there, but you can probably see from right there that, especially even right here, where it's not even wet yet. You can see right there, it's not even wet yet, and you don't see any separation, and there is a mega separation, guys. Again, here's the length right here, and right next to it, there's length way out here. So there's an extreme disconnection, extreme separation happening here, but because of the fact that it's separated at the right point, it's fluid. Corners are a change in direction, guys. Corners are a change in direction. If you utilize that change of direction, you can be very fluid, yeah? So that's where understanding landscape of the head is so important, especially if you want to get creative. And apparently, I learned from DJ that this connection apparently in classic means of him being a sassoon guy, I guess this connection is when they technically consider it becoming creative. But yet, if you saw everything that I worked with, it's still nothing really creative about it. It's kind of simple overall. But yeah, so keeping that right like that. You can take a look when I look at this profile. There's just a little bit of a, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Crystal. A little bit of just a heavy drop. And you can keep that heavy drop, but I don't want to be, to me, that heavy drop is a little bit more, not as a fluid, not quite as education, or like, not education, but professional, I guess, I don't know. So I just want to give just a little bit more feminine feel into this and just a little bit more of a curvy into this. So what I'm going to do is just pull this forward. I'm going to kind of just see where this is piece right there. What's happening? Just about to that lower spot. I'm going to go just like this. Take this little piece here. Now first, just take this little piece. I'm pulling it in the front. So it's a little diagonal forward section there. I'm going to take that and see that here's my bang. So that would be connecting it if I wanted it connected. I don't want it connected. I'm going to go a little bit past it. I'm going to go like that. I'm just going to have it more right at noon, parallel to the floor and the ceiling first. And I'll just go through and just stroke through this just a little bit. And the stroking, what I'm doing is I'm hitting the finger open, closing the way out. Hitting the finger open, closing the way out. Yeah. So that does is give me that little bit of something right into there. And then what I'm going to do with this too, let's see. I like that how it's sitting. Maybe I don't need to. I'm still going to put one more just behind it. That one just behind it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring it to the other side. I'm going to bring it just a little bit more back this way. So I'm going to take a look at where my previous links were in there. There's previous links right through there. So I'm going over. I'm going to bring it this way. Now by cutting it this way, as you can imagine, pull away from what you want to keep. Thank you, DJ. So I want to get it longer. I want to swing forward. Yeah? So that last little bit there will allow this stuff to then come forward a little bit more. There we go. A little bit more of that forward feel right to there. Here we go, right into there. Okay, so there's that. And I'll do the same over this other side. Again, just finding a little bit in there. Taking that forward. Finding, here's my bang length there, and I need to go past that bang length. There's it is right there, you guys can see it. I go past that a bit again. And now I'll have the elevation right at noon, so it's consistent. Work right through with the stroking. Sorry if I was in your way, I apologize. And then take one more section again on here. Just a little bit, not too much. And then take that and comb that back away from the face. Find that guy, there's my links that are in there. Stroke that away from the face, so that way it gets longer into the face. Come into the face a little bit more. Yeah, there she goes, there she goes. If you wanted on this, of course, you could go through and you could do anything to the length overall. I'm going to keep the length much more extended and light and loose like that. I like that kind of vibe overall. You could go through if you wanted and cut some shoulders right in the center area if you want it to be super trendy in that. But the cool thing with this, by even keeping it longer like this, when she dries, she still got shorter behind it, guys. So you could still just pop that into there. If you were wanting to play with that trendy, kind of having some stuff in the center there, all that kind of stuff. Either way, I'm going to show you this too. This is pretty cool, I think. Check out you can't do this with a client, of course, but it's really cool with a doll head. You can really see this box that we play with as per, let me see, put this down here. You can see how we have the nice rounded, convexy shape in through here. The disconnections all through there. In the back, you can see that it gets longer. When you go like that, you can see how it got longer in the back, how it rounds in, gets more of that concavey feel. And then with this thing again, I'm a dude, I like things to be very easy and friendly, not to work hard with it. With this then, I can toss her under my nice pivot point tripod here. Thank you, pivot point. Do the little twisty thing here, which is really fancy. And then just really shake this girl around. So just like that, go in here like this. Lock her into place a little bit.
They love it, man.
Just get a little bit more.
They love it.
I'm happy they do. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here today. This also, just like with yesterday's, Willie and Shark Fin, if you want to go ahead and email Willie at his email address, which I'll let you know in a minute. He's got head sheets for this as well, along with the clock concept if you have any interest. I'd love if you want to do any future stuff with me, maybe take a screenshot of this right now, and again, tag myself, Ira Pope Sage, and either Shark Fin Willie or Shark Fin, and we can set up classes with you too. I do have a sale going on right now in the manner that normally my one-on-one prices are $700 for the one-on-one and $1050 for a one-on-two. I'm doing a sale that's going to be that you can set any available date from June 1st until April 1st of 2021. So that way you have more than enough time to be in your salons, make back your money, all that kind of stuff, and then be able to have a very affordable class if you want. We're going to do the one-on-ones at, one-on-ones at $400, the one-on-two at $700, and it's only $200 down payment to hold any available date you'd like. Yeah, so I hope that becomes very friendly for people to get some decent education, to see a different perspective, a different way. I have been doing hair for 25 years now, so I've had a decent amount of time and experience working with hair to understand different ways that what it does, different things that it does, and just, again, see how this just naturally, just shake that around, and it's really cool how these just kick out through there like that. I think you can see better right there, all that darn plant, but you can see how it kicks up through there. Bangs are just in good places, and this will be a really nice air dried shape and look to be a really, I think, really cool kid, sexy girl look overall. Certainly very modern kind of feel for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, everything was working inside the box. I worked convexy in this front area, from front to back, and convexy in the side to side, combing everything to the outside in this front. In the back area, I worked combing everything to the inside. Always just to the previous. I don't want her to call the manager on me. So I always just work to the previous. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you, Shark Fin. Thank you all for being part of this. And I appreciate your time today.
Ira, thank you, man. I know you went back to work on Tuesday, I believe it was, and you've been at it back and forth. So really appreciated. Everybody, now we're going to take this opportunity to give away one of our next to last toolkit for the night. So text your first and last name to 888-544-7254. First and last name for an opportunity to win this amazing toolkit. This will have our professional line cutting shears, Japanese, 440A steel, hand-forged, hand-welded, patented handle and finger fitting system. Andis has gladly thrown in the cordless MVLI Andis Nation clipper. Excuse me. Sorry. So they put in the MVLI Andis adjustable blade and also the Slimline Pro LI cordless rechargeable, both the Andis Nation finish. Of course, Ergo's thrown in their revolutionary design brush set, and I love Ergo. And then, of course, the fan favorite from Pivot Point, which is Erica. Welcome to the party, Erica. So text 888-544-7254, and we will let the winner know by contacting them back. We're not going to do this one live.